Was good. Was good. Hope everyone's having a blessed Sunday, man. Man, can y'all believe the year went by this fast, man? It's crazy. Bump Bumpity 5 times or bump TY 5 times, man. Salute, brother. Thank you for joining us. But y'all know how it is, man. We had to come on and talk about what's going on in college football. The college football playoffs are upon us, man. Already, man. It seemed like the season went by fast, man, but I enjoyed every bit of it. Of course, I have my brothers with me. I have JB and Coach 67 Sports TV. What's going on?
All is well. How y'all gentlemen doing this this afternoon?
Can't complain, man.
I'm
Can't
blessed,
complain about
man.
anything.
Blessed, man. Yeah, man. I'm blessed, man. I'm ready to talk about football and just sitting back, chilling, enjoying this Sunday evening, man.
All right. All right. Great, great, great. Uh Man, so the NCAA football playoffs brackets are set. Those who do not know, last night they set the brackets. A lot of people are upset. Meaning, if you're a BYU fan or Alabama fan, uh, Arizona State. No, excuse me, Arizona State made the playoffs. I'm sorry. Or Iowa State, or if you're of that fan base, a lot of fans are upset. But they did say it wasn't going to be perfect, but they were going to try their best to pick the best teams that they thought to fit the slots in the playoffs. First, going with you, Coach 67 Sports TV. What's your thoughts on the teams that were chosen for the playoffs? You think it was fair, or?
Well, my outtake and my outlook on this particular topic is going to be somewhat controversial from the standpoint of I don't care if you made it a 64 team playoff. I mean, unless you literally put every single team in college football in the playoff, there's going to always be some sort of controversy. Even if you went to 16 teams, somebody's going to have some type of gripe with the structure or who got in or who didn't make it in. My personal opinion is if you didn't want to be on the outside looking in, you should have took care of business during the season. So that's my take.
Good point. Me personally, I did not want Bama to make it. I felt like they losing the loss of to Vanderbilt and other teams. There were other teams that were more deserving. I'm glad. This is why I'm glad they started the playoffs in this way, because you're not just going in by your name anymore, or your prestige. But JB, what's your thoughts on the teams that were selected?
I agree with Coach. Now there is like some exceptions like SMU. SMU and Clemson had a good game last night. But SMU going to make it because the strength of their schedule. They upset a lot of people this year. And like you said, teams like Bama, Texas, or did Texas make it?
Yes.
Yeah, they did. They never said okay. So teams like Bama who didn't, like Coach said, who didn't win the games they were supposed to win, especially that Oklahoma game. I mean, hey man, hey, that's that's why you need to win those games. And I don't want to hear it. A lot of teams last year was bitching and complaining, especially teams like we know Florida State trash this year, but the teams like the Florida State, they didn't get a chance. The to get in the playoffs or get an opportunity to play in the 14 playoffs. This year they didn't make it, so teams like a Florida State will be able to make it this year who did what they were supposed to do during
The
the
regular season.
conference play and the regular season, especially conference play when you get in the conference. So I can't wait to watch it to see how it turns out. This may playoff thing may work, it may not, but sometimes fans we bite ourselves in the foot. We complain about every damn thing. You know what I'm saying? They gave us more teams to play that played in the playoffs. So let's see how it works. If your team didn't do what they were supposed to do, like Coach said, then hey, next year.
Right. What you feel about teams like Miami or BYU not making it in the playoffs?
Miami is the same reason. We know they got a Heisman hopeful with the award, but hey, Miami was losing to team. Their last game they lost to a team they shouldn't have lost to. They're in the same boat with Alabama. Everybody was bigging them up and saying that they were this and that, and they didn't win the games they were supposed to win.
Okay, okay. Salute to Autism Boy. He said, "What's up, Jared and Co 67 Sports TV? What's up, man?" And he said, "Hey, salute to the chat room." Uh, Mr. Shelton talks about Brock, MF, and Purdy. Oh Lord. And my brother, Big Reg, host of Big Boy Talk. What's good, everybody? What's good, Big Reg? Always supporting. And y'all in the chat,
Miami
let
had a
us.
20.
Hold
I'll
on,
go ahead,
JB.
Jared. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Uh-huh.
Y'all in the chat, let everybody know. Let us know how you feel about the brackets. You feel like somebody was left out, a team that you felt deserved to be in the playoffs. Share your thoughts. But I feel like it's they did their best. Of course, you're gonna have teams like BYU or that didn't make the Big 12 championship. I know Arizona State and Iowa State made it. Colorado, they was in like a four. It was like a four-way. They had to beat them. Losing to Kansas, Shelton hurt them. If they would have beat Kansas, they would have been in the. For first, they had to make it to beat Kansas to make it to the Big 12 championship, conference championship.
Right.
That didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So when they lost to Kansas, that put them in a bad decision because there was other teams like Iowa State and BYU and Arizona State that were also in the top. They were the top three in the Big 12. So there was like a four-way tie. So there were stipulations for them to make it to the conference championship. And plus, they had to win the conference championship to make the playoffs or get a chance to be part of the playoffs. But they lost to Kansas, and that jacked everything up.
Yep. And like Colorado, Miami lost to Syracuse, and they
Yeah.
were up, I believe, like 21-0 in that game too,
So what
or
are
14
some of the
nothing, I
fan
think.
bases? Well, wait a minute. SMU just lost to Clemson. How they how they
In the
make it?
conference championship. I would tell them in the conference championship. They made it to the championship game and lost. Kind of like if there was like a HBCU four-way playoff game, technically, even though Southern, I know Coach going to talk about it, Southern, even though Southern lost in the championship game, Southern would technically still be in the playoffs
Yeah,
because
because they
they
made
made
it.
it to the game. They're the two best teams and one of the two best teams in the conference.
And so, but that will strike a nerve with the Iowa State fans who just lost to Arizona State. They didn't make it to the playoffs.
What was
But like
Iowa State record?
Iowa State. Bear with me one
And you
moment.
know all this stuff go on strength of schedule and all
You know
this
what?
shit.
They were third in the Big 12. So um Arizona State made it. Yeah. Again, they said that it was gonna be perfect. They did say that. But to answer your question, wait for this to stop loading. Big Red said Miami lost completely, took them out. Yes, it did. They were 10-3, JB.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. They're 10-3, but BYU was above them, and BYU didn't have a strong schedule like that this year.
Oh,
So
and
all this going
look who they lost to
on
though.
strength of schedule.
Right, they lost to Texas
Hmm.
Tech and Kansas.
Well, nah, you're not making the playoff.
Yeah, man. But let's go ahead and go into it. I know it's premature, but let's go ahead and go into it. Who you got? Uh, because Oregon got to buy, Arizona State got to buy, Georgia got to buy, and Boise State got to buy. So let's just go over the some of the sooner games that's going to happen. I think Big Joe put it. Um, they're going to start at December 20th. The games are going to begin December 20th.
Yeah, they trying to kick it off early so they could guess finish at a reasonable time instead of finishing around the same time as the Super Bowl. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. So it's going to be December 20th to January 20th. Okay. And shout out to Big Joe Town for that information. But yeah. So who starting with you, JB? Who you got first? Tennessee or Ohio State? Who you got?
I haven't really watched. I know Tennessee. It has been good this year, but I haven't really watched them like that. Ohio State is solid. I will have to say, just going by what I see, I think Ohio State gonna win. I just believe Ohio State gonna win. Tennessee QB is up and down. He's good, but he'd be giving the ball away. Um, uh, you see, Clemson and
Oh,
Texas.
JB, hold on. Um,
Okay,
I was gonna say because I'm gonna go to coach. We gonna break down these games, give your opinions on each the first round
okay,
games.
okay.
But don't sleep on Tennessee because Ohio State it does have problems stopping the running game, and Tennessee got a very good running back, very good
See,
running back.
I haven't,
So
I haven't been in the Tennessee watching Tennessee ball like that.
I haven't
Just
either, but
highlights.
I know their running game is good enough to bother uh, that D line for Ohio State, where it could be good, put them in good positions if they don't turn the ball over. Of course I'm still going Ohio State, but don't be surprised that game closer than it should be.
Yeah, especially with Ohio State losing to Michigan. But even
Yeah,
though that's a rivalry game, but still.
right, right. Coach, who you got? Tennessee, Ohio State in the
I'm
first
gonna
round.
go with excuse me. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. I think Ohio State is a
See,
good team. I think they're a little bit overrated. Uh, I mean, Tennessee is still an SEC team. The last time I checked, and I think they could give Ohio State some problems. I think they're gonna pull a win off. In my opinion.
okay, okay. Good deal, good deal. And Big Red said, "No, Alabama is a breath of fresh air. Now it really feels like every game matters." Yes,
I
I
would agree
agree.
with that. I would agree with that.
Okay. Next game is in the first round is Clemson versus those Texas Longhorns. JB, who you got?
This is gonna be a good game. Clemson is, even though I don't like um, uh,
Dabo.
Dabo Sweeney over there in Clemson, but man, I gotta give what credit is due. He got them boys playing. Cade Klubnik, I believe that's the QB name, is balling. Been balling this year. Um, and they've been the most consistent team in the ACC. Um, and that's a difficult task because ACC teams get up for each other. It's not it's not guaranteed that you're gonna win all your conference games. Ask Miami, hell, ask
Facts.
North Carolina.
Facts.
So, but Texas got the horses. Texas is explosive, one of the explosive offenses in the nation. They up there with Oregon when their QB is not turning the ball
Quinn
on.
Ewers.
Arch
Yeah.
Quick Ewers will turn the ball over, so that makes me lean more towards uh, Clemson. But I just got this feeling that the Longhorns is gonna pull it out, especially with their upset to Georgia. So I'm going with
Okay.
Georgia. I got a
Okay.
good feeling.
You mean
Okay.
tennis? I mean, you mean Texas?
I'm in Texas. Yeah, I'm going with Texas. I got a good feeling that the Texas will win because they're not happy about losing to Georgia.
Okay. Okay. All right. Coach, who you got in the Clemson and Longhorn game?
I got them hook'em horns. I think with Arch Manning and all the dogs that they have for Texas, I know Clemson is Clemson, but they're not the Clemson the teams are old when you had Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson and those type of players. I don't think I don't think they're the same team. So I'm gonna go with Texas.
Facts. Facts. I got Texas as well. I believe that that offense is gonna overwhelm uh Clemson. Um, I just feel like the Longhorns will move the ball up and down the field against that Clemson defense. That, like you said, that Clemson D line, they were one time known as D line U, as Big Joe would say at one back in the day. But and don't get me wrong, they got people that can go after the quarterback. Um, one of the dudes they got on the defensive line is their I believe he's up there in one of the top defensive ends in the nation as far as sacks. So they got one or two people that can go after quarterback, but they're not consistent enough, especially against big time programs that know how to run the ball. So yeah, long story short, not to be long winded, I got Texas as well. Uh, next game, in state in-state game. It may be a very snowy game, and it's a game I'm definitely gonna have my eye on. Indiana Hoosiers versus Notre Dame. JB, who you got?
I want to say Indiana just for the hype, but my heart says Indiana, but my brain says Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame got their identity, especially with the scrambling quarterback Riley Leonard. Um, they know how to use him, and they've been using his legs and his arm to win games. The Hoosiers have been balling. Um, with their quarterback Rourke, I believe that's his name. But I just got a feeling that Notre Dame is more defensively sound. I believe. Um, we saw what happened with Indiana when they took a step up in competition. Um, when they had to go against Ohio State. The Irish has been, to me, is a more battle tested team, but I hope Indiana is going to win. Will win, but I think Notre Dame is going to show why. They've been in the ACC for a couple of years, and been doing pretty good in independent play.
Okay, before you go, Coach, I'm a disagree with JB. I'm gonna actually go the opposite. I believe Indiana is a little bit more battle tested, and I believe that Notre Dame um is not gonna be ready for Indiana. I believe Indiana is not Navy. Indiana is not Army. So I believe that Indiana will be ready for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and get the win. Um, I just believe Indiana will not be overwhelmed with the so-called, the prestige of the Fighting Irish. I believe that Indiana will get it done. I honestly believe that. I believe their offense will. It's going to be a high-scoring game. To the
Now,
point.
now, now, I'm gonna have to push back a little bit, right? Now, I'm
Go
not
ahead.
gonna be long. Now, they beat a Texas A&M, which is a good team, right?
Okay. Okay, team.
They beat Louisville. They beat Georgia Tech, which is Georgia Tech is probably one of the most underrated explosive offenses in the nation, especially with that King Haynes boy,
Yeah.
that quarterback.
Haynes King.
No
Yeah.
matter what you say about Army, Haynes King, thank you. Army is ranked. Well, was ranked, I believe. So, and then they got a couple of ACC games. I see. Like I told you, them ACC games are not easy. You know what I'm saying? So, if you look at um, uh, Indiana schedule, Indiana really don't have you know, don't play nobody like that except when they play like
Michigan, Ohio
Ohio
State.
State. Yeah, so that's why I'm going with Notre Dame.
I hear you, but I just be like you said. Rorick has been balling. They running back Ellison and Lawton. You keep feeding them. Eventually, they will, um, run for daylight. Their offensive line blocks well. Their wide receivers Surratt and Cooper Jr. Um, are decent, are very good to get separation. So I definitely, in my opinion, I believe Indiana will not be overwhelmed with Notre Dame. I believe they have the potential to beat them. Um, but before I go to Coach, Autism Boy says, "Are Texas Longhorns overrated, Jared Brody? In your opinion?" No, not at all. They just have to get up and play. Which Longhorns are going to come out and play?
The quarterback needs to stop throwing picks.
Yes, because that defense has been balling. Uh, Brent Fox said, "Salute, brothers. Hate I missed the show, but still support." No, you always good, brother. You good. J Bar says, "Salute, family in chat. Salute, J Bar. Appreciate you always supporting." But coach, what's your who you got in the Indiana Hoosiers or Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
I'm gonna go with JB. I'm gonna say Notre Dame. Uh, I think Indiana may be more battle tested. I know people might be saying, "Hey, I picked Notre Dame because of the name," but I think at the end of the day, a lot of times, if you really haven't been there year in and year out, you sometimes you might get a little starstruck. So I don't know if the stage is gonna be too big for Indiana, but I'm going with Notre Dame.
Okay, I hear y'all. I just think y'all may be wrong as far as um just I believe Indiana's gonna is more. uh, battle tested, like you said, where they're not going to be overwhelmed by Notre Dame. Uh, all right. We got SMU and Penn State. As you know, SMU played last night and lost a heartbreaker, very good game to Clemson. They were down to Clemson most of the game. Then they came roaring back. Um, in my opinion, they should have just went for two instead of just kicking the tying it. Just my opinion. But Clemson kicked the game-winning field goal and won, and they are now the 2024 ACC champs. But who you got, JB? Penn State or SMU?
Just like Indiana, SMU is a Cinderella team. First year in the conference, they balling. Um, you saw what happened with the step up in competition. A lot of turnovers, a lot of mistakes. There was a winnable game for them if they wouldn't uh, turn the ball earlier earlier in the game, but they did come back. However, against Penn State is one of those teams that are battle tested, been there, done that. Um, they're coached well. They have a good coach over there with Franklin. I think he's going to have these boys ready to play. SMU will, make some plays. This may be probably I can see this being a high scoring game. Won't be surprised if it's a defensive game, but I doubt it. Both teams got an explosive offense. They got a good running back on both sides of the both teams. Um, but I'm going with Penn State, even though it would be exciting for football if SMU wins. But I think Penn State is going to win.
I agree. I got Penn State beating SMU. Even though I want SMU to win, I just don't think they have the dogs in the secondary to keep up with uh, Penn State. Penn State, you saw what they were down to Oregon, or in Oregon, who has the most explosive offense as far as a wide receiver core in the nation, in my opinion. Um, they was able to withstand it and keep the game close and try to come back, but they fell short. So I definitely got Penn State as well. Coach, who you got?
I got Penn State as well. My bracket is a pretty chalky type bracket. So, I think Penn State is a bigger name, been on a bigger stage. I don't know if SMU has the firepower to, basically to deal with Penn State.
I definitely agree. Yeah, autism boy. Penn State's not. They playing on the 20th. They're not playing today. Uh, and then of course, Oregon is waiting for Tennessee and Ohio State, and Arizona State is waiting for Clemson and Texas, and Georgia's waiting for Indiana and Notre Dame, and Boise State waiting for SMU and Penn State. Which I believe Arizona State may get mollywop by either Clemson or Texas, in my opinion. I could be wrong. All right, let's move on, fellas. Let's go talk about some HBCU ball, man. Y'all know what it is. So those who don't know, the SWAC championship happened yesterday. The Southern Jaguars played against Jackson State, which they lost 41-13. The game was very close in the uh, first half, but in the second half, Jackson State started pulling away due to mistakes and bad quarterback play and the offensive line play. In my opinion, of course, um, Southern doesn't really have like an all-star or playmaker wide receiver. They do have serviceable wide receivers, but not like how what where the Southern Jaguars faithful wants. But of course, we have Coach 67 Sports TV, which I call him Mr. Southern, to go into that. Coach, you know what it is. I'm going straight to you. What's your opinion on the game?
Uh, of course, first and foremost, congratulations to head coach TC Taylor and Jackson State. Like you said in the first half, it was a good game. Uh, you know, you bring up a valid point. Like in terms of like my thoughts on the game, I give a full like breakdown from not from a total perspective, just from a Southern University perspective. And because of the wave that's kind of been coming since homecoming, since Southern played against Alcorn State, like our channel is like 13 subscribers, short of 500. So if y'all not subscribed, please come over and subscribe to the channel. So get to the 500 mark before Christmas. But it was a first and foremost. I think one thing we need to point out. Starting quarterback Jalen Woods, he got a concussion in the Bayou Classic, so he didn't play. So Southern went to the backup, Xavier ZT set, and Noah was third string, but that's another story. I'll get to that in a little bit. But they started out. Southern got the ball first. They struggled offensively at times. They punted the ball to Jackson State. Southern defense played well as usual. Cole Swag Defensive Player of the Year, Kelby Givens. He really played well. He stood on his square. He was a man yesterday. Eventually, Jackson State started off the scoring and kicked the field goal. It was up 3-0. Then Southern answered with a touchdown, and Southern kicked the field goal. There was a point in the game where Southern was up 10-3, and they had the ball. And I think, for those individuals that follow my channel and, clicked on a video of the SWAC championship game we're talking about, a lot of Southern University fans, even though they lost in the SWAC championship game, they want offensive coordinator Frederick fired because, we knew this was an issue for a while. As an offensive coordinator, he leaves a lot to be desired. He gonna lean heavily on the running game, but I think they had Jackson State off balance in the first half when they were up 10-3, and I think they needed to go up 2 scores, preferably 2 touchdowns, to really comfortably be in the driver's seat. Being up 2 scores wasn't gonna guarantee that they were gonna win the game, but I think if you kept being aggressive and kept throwing the ball with JT set, I think they were in a more favorable position because everybody knows that Mark Frederick wants to run the ball and that Southern wants to lean on the running game. And I think he got kind of conservative. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he caught Jackson State off guard. The drive that they had the ball and they got the ball like right at midfield on the plus side of the field. But I think he started getting conservative. I think if he'd kept being aggressive and kept sticking with the passing game, I think they would have been straight. But they, eventually ended up punting the ball. Jackson State, Jacobian Morgan, his starting quarterback got hurt. The backup quarterback came in, and I'm not gonna lie, it was off to the races because after that point they scored, and it was 10-10 at halftime, and then start the second half. Jackson State scored. Then Southern got the ball. Tyler Kirkwood, he got stripped and he fumbled the ball. Jackson State scored again. Once Jackson State got out by 17, it was kind of off to the races for them, and it pretty much was all she wrote for Southern. I think, to me, the signal that they were waving the white flag. I know ZT said through an interception the series before, but you putting in Noah Barton even though he played most of the season. Like I wasn't a huge proponent of that. And you right from the standpoint
I
of
100%, and I didn't mean to cut you off. That
uh,
made me mad.
yeah, I'm like, why
Why
not
would you just stick with two? And I'm
T set?
probably pronounced two set. Yeah,
Yeah, no, T set.
stick with the
Yeah.
T set. Stick
Yes.
with T set because Noah Biden. He's not he's already shown us what he can do in the passing game, and he in this type of game, he's not it. I'm sorry.
And I don't know if they was looking at the first time they played against Jackson State. Zay got hurt and he struggled. And then Noah came in and he let him down the field. But the thing about it is, he threw for over 300 yards the first time they played, but it was a lot of empty calories. There were a couple drives, like literally the first time they played, that Noah got him down the field and he made like big plays, chunk plays. Then he'd turn around and throw a stupid interception once he get the ball on the plus side of the field in the red zone. So to me, I felt like when you put him in, he was kind of waving the white flag. And, I was not a fan of that move. But I think the biggest point that you brought up, of course, we talked about it all in a group chat. And I covered a lot of this in my post-game reaction video last night. But I think the biggest thing about it is Southern doesn't, the offensive line is not as physical and nasty and as aggressive as they've been in years past, for one. Second of all, they don't have that dynamic receiver in years past, like a Willie Quinn, like a Michael Hayes, like a James Vernon. I can't say Lee Doss, he's more possession receiver, like a Devin Lewis, that legitimate number one. I think Chandler Whitfield, he a senior, he was a dog, but I think he was more of a number two receiver. I think Darren Morris is more of a number three. Tyler Kirkwood probably is more of a number four. Maybe you could throw Quay in there at some point, but you don't have that number one guy that's elite that you really have to, hey, we got to double this guy like a Micah Hayes or like a Willie Quinn, like a James Vernon, those type of guys. And even in terms of playmakers, outside of Kendrick Grimes, don't get me wrong, Kobe Dillon had some big runs during the course of the year, but you saw last week in the Bayou Classic when he hit the big run, guess what? They caught him from behind. They didn't catch Kendrick Grimes when he got an open field this year and last year in the Bayou Classic. So that's why I was always more of a proponent of giving the ball to Kendrick Grimes more, because he's your game breaker. He's more your deep threat in terms of getting you the big chunk play. So outside of that, even as a punt returner, over the years, you've had a Willie Quinn as a punt kick returner. You've had a Ezra Landry, a James Vernon, Kenyatta Sparks, Fred Bailey. You had that kind of guy that's a game breaker, even in a punt kick return game. Southern don't have that explosive guy. And not only that, but if you look at Jackson State, Jay Good, shout out to the brother Jay Good. He pointed this out, like Jackson State was more the physical team yesterday. And, even though they got the young kid that was the SWAC newcomer of the year, the one that had the big punt return, like Irv Mulligan is more of a power back, whereas Southern is more of a finesse team with Kendrick Grimes and Corey Dillon and CJ Russell. Like all of these guys are more, they're more finesse backs. Really, Southern is only like over, I'll probably say since maybe the 80s. Southern has only probably had a handful of power backs. I'm not talking about like star power back. I'm talking about probably since about the mid 80s, they've had a handful of power backs total since then. So we talking about over the last like 30 some years, most of their backs are like Melvin Williams, Melvin Williams Jr., Lindsey Scott Sr., Leonard Tillery. Like they're kind of like that prototypical NFL running back, or like the early 90s, like your Barry Sanders, like your Emmitt Smiths, like your Thurman Thomases. That's kind of been their prototype, and they've kind of always stuck with that guy. Whereas I think you need a power back like they had, like Gerard Sims, where you can mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Even there was a point, I know, me and Melvin Williams are from the same hometown. We're from the same area. But they had this running back that was the punter, that was the SWAC special teams newcomer of the year. His name was Lionel Nicholas. Lionel Nicholas was 215, 6'2". But we played basketball. Me and one of my homeboys, and we have like this mutual homeboy, and he can't play basketball with us. And he was years removed from his time in Southern, and every time you bump into him, it literally is like bumping into a rock, like a little rock. So I'm like, man, bro, like why Southern didn't give him more touches? I mean, I know Melvin Williams was the guy, but when you trying to close out the game, you could have gave him like maybe 5-10 touches a game. But back in those days, you had the bell cow feature back. So at the end of the day, congratulations, Jackson State. I think TC Taylor did an excellent job. One
He
thing,
did.
a lot of Jackson State fans. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got some Jackson State fans that you kind of see what Scotty talking about in terms of they're super arrogant. Some of them, they kind of been in some of these Facebook groups in my chat, kind of gloating. But then you have had other J State fans that were polite, and they were like, hey, salute to Southern. They had a good season. Hey, the defense played well. And they were like respectful and polite and cordial about it. But I think at the end of the day, I think TC Taylor, from a recruiter standpoint, a lot of J State fans, they're basically saying how good a recruiter he is. And it's obvious because he had a real balanced roster. I talked about this on HBC Overdrive with the brother Doc Holliday. Like a lot of they top maybe 3-4 receivers are out as we speak. Like Rico Powers. Rico Powers hadn't played in a while. So just think about if they were if that team yesterday really wasn't at full strength. So just imagine if you had guys like Rico Powers, in a lineup, like, man, hey, they would be that much tougher to deal with. So he's done an excellent job of recruiting. I think the thing, if I'm Terrence Graves, the thing you need to do, first and foremost, I think Southern has a rock solid foundation, but the offensive line is not. I mean, don't
Not.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
Over the years, Southern has been nasty, savage up front. They were so bad in the spring and so bad against McNeese State. One thing I can say is, Coach Nivens, I got to give him credit. Like the offensive line, they shuffled the line multiple times. They gradually improved as the season, went along. And if you'd have told me they was going to be this good, back in the spring or even at the beginning of the season, I would have said you lying. So I think they did a good job with that. I think you have 3 redshirt freshmen that has a lot of upside and potential. I think the issue is, I think from a quarterback standpoint, if you go with Jalen Woods, cool, but I think it'll be better if you brought in a senior guy from a Power 5 that's ready to play now, that you really could develop Zay and Jalen Woods and Angelo Izzard Jr. behind that guy. You definitely need some explosive players on the perimeter. Like I said, guys in the past, like a Fred Bailey, like Kenyatta Sparks, like a James Vernon, speed guys. You need some game breakers on the perimeter. Of course, you got an infinite amount of smallish running backs, but they need a power guy like a Gerard Sims, like a Lionel Nicholas. And I think, defensively, you straight, but they were like top heavy in terms of senior heavy defensively. One of your starting defensive tackles, Davin Cotton, who transferred from LSU, he was a senior. And Willie Miles, the short defensive tackle that went viral for his scoop and score against UAPB, that got a personal foul yesterday. That was a stupid penalty by
Very
Willie
stupid.
Miles. But he was a senior. Darius Harris, he was a senior. So the defense was excellent. It's been, the cornerstone of their defense. I mean, the cornerstone of their team the last few years. But in all actuality, they had a senior heavy defense. So you got to plug some of them holes defensively in terms of those seniors that you're losing. But I think you need, some dogs up front of the offensive line. You need some playmakers. And I think you need a veteran plug and play quarterback. I'm not saying you should throw Jalen Woods and Zay and Angelo Izzard Jr. away, but I think you need a more veteran presence in your quarterback room. But other than that, I think Coach Graves did a good job. Now I'm not gonna like as we speak, literally in my post game reaction video, you still got Southern University fans that saying, hey, they need to fire Roman Banks, their athletic director, even though they made it to the SWAC championship game. They're still saying they need to fire him. A lot of people saying they need to get rid of Mark Frederick as the offensive coordinator. They need to fire him. A lot of people saying they need a change in leadership. And the big talking point in my chat as we speak in terms of the comment section of my post game reaction is the offensive coordinator Mark Frederick. They talking about how garbage he is, how trash he is. Aside from a couple of J State fans trolling and gloating, hey, I'm just happy in the comment section kind of, making me tweak the algorithm. So I appreciate them for coming through, even though they trolling. It's all good with me.
Right.
But a lot of Southern fans, they felt like, they're tired of being a bridesmaid. They ready to be a bride again. Southern has not won a SWAC championship since 2013. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of members of Jaguar Nation, that was the reason why so many of them were so adamant getting rid of Dawson Odom. They figure, hey, if you're in number one, even if you're number two don't count for nothing. Like, it don't mean nothing. You get into the SWAC championship game and losing in 2019 to Alcorn State, 2022 to Jackson State, this year to Jackson State. Like, don't none of that mean jack-ish to Jaguar Nation. If we in number one, we don't care. So I think Terrence Graves, he has a tall task. He has to surpass T.C. Taylor from a recruiting standpoint. And then not only that, but you got Mickey Joseph, his calling card at Grambling. He from New Orleans. He went to Shaw. He went to Nebraska. He been all around the SWAC. He was assistant coach at Nicholls State. He's been all around the SWAC. But his calling card is recruiting. So he gonna probably have a 5-year recruiting class. So Terrence Graves, he needs to do an excellent job with his recruiting class. And I know he's probably gonna have more of a balanced approach, but he needs some game breakers, offensively.
Yeah, I agree. And just going back to the game, man, you giving in detail and depth of behind the scenes of what Southern needs to do to improve for next year. Um, and what they losing, and what they can build off, good things they can build off of. But as far as going back into the game, man, I felt like also was it good for you what I saw, what was a turning point when Jackson State put in Zy McDonald and got rid of Morgan, because Morgan was he
No,
was
well, Morgan got hurt, and inside, ESPN was saying that he was a third string, but in all actuality, he got
he was
moved up.
sick.
He got
Yeah,
moved up to being a backup. So really and truly, I'm not gonna lie, I think that's the thing that really kind of he gave the offense a shot in the arm.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
basically, him, because he was doing the same thing at Louisiana Lafayette that TC Taylor, recruited him from. So yeah, because that you guys was, like you said, that defense was shutting everything down at that point, except when Morgan went down. There's Zy McDonald, who was a running threat, who basically had 95 yards on the ground and a touchdown and 11.9 yards a carry, or average. And then it doesn't help with that monster Irv Mulligan. You know what I mean? So, which
yeah.
I
I mean,
told you guys, in the beginning, you had to watch him. He's the best running back in the SWAC, in my opinion.
yeah. I ain't gonna
Uh,
lie, bro. You've been pounding that drum since he came to J State at the beginning of the year last year. And bro, I'm not gonna lie, you right. You were right because he ended up being. You and I, we talked about this in the preseason on HBCU Fanatics. But
right.
he's deserving of being a SWAC offensive player of the year. He done earned his stripes.
Facts, man. Facts, man. But tough sledding for Southern as far as going in the off season. But like you said, you got that ball club have a lot of good things to build off of.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not gonna lie. This fan base is split. Just looking at my comment section, my post game reaction, I probably say most of it is trending towards the negative side of things. But myself, I'm not gonna lie, I'm encouraged. I think they had an excellent season. They definitely overachieved this season. I think they have a solid foundation to work from. And truthfully speaking, uh, I think if Coach Graves pushes the right buttons and brings in the right pieces, I think they'll be straight. But overall, I mean, I'm proud of the team. I think they did well considering me sitting in the rain and getting wet in Lake Charles at the beginning of the season. If you'd have told me they was going to end up at this point, even though you thought I was a little bit crazy, but I picked Southern and Jackson State to be in the SWAC championship game, and lo and behold, probably for but the maybe 50 in a row, I was correct. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm
But
not gonna. I'll eat crow when it comes to that, man. Because I'm not gonna act like, yeah, I knew Southern. I had y'all second in the West, but um, I thought either Grambling or somebody was gonna take it, or Alcorn. But yeah, you made me a believer as far as um Southern making it to the SWAC championship.
well, I
Um,
mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to cut you off, bro. To me, I wasn't confident that I knew Southern had talent. I knew that's one thing. I'm not saying they were that good. I just felt like the West was that wide open to the point where, in years past, like when I was a kid, Eddie Robinson teams in those 80s and early 90s, they were like the it team. You like, all right, hey, we know it's Grambling.
right,
Uh, at one point, you know, once Coach Frazier, he Henry Frazier the third, once he got his team there, hey, PV, a team to beat. Then it got to a point it was all corn. Uh, you know, certain years it was Southern. It was a lot of parity in the West this year. And I'm not gonna lie, if I'm gonna be truthful, if you take Southern and you put them in the East, I'm not even gonna lie. Southern might not even be the third best team in the East, to be truthful. I mean, you could easily say J State, and then you could say after J State, you could say FAMU, maybe Alabama State. Southern might be the fourth best team in the East if they were in the East. But I knew what the West looked like. But you know, I think they had a good season, all things considered. I'm proud of the team. I know a lot of members of Jaguar Nation, they feel like, hey, if you're not number one, everything else, you're a loser. I don't have that mindset. I think they overachieve. I think they have a solid foundation moving forward. But I think Coach Graves, you're gonna have to address the Mark Frederick situation in terms of the play calling. The play calling is trash. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. And then not only that, but you need some hogs up front. You need to solidify your quarterback position, and you need some playmakers and some game breakers on the perimeter and a power back to go with it. And plug them holes on defense. But I think they straight. I think we're in a good spot. But I think Coach Graves, from a recruiting standpoint, he got to push the right buttons.
right, all right. I definitely agree. Um, but just moving on, but we still staying in the HBCU lane. Um, we'll come back to that later. Who you got in the Celebration Bowl?
Uh,
J State or South Carolina State?
oh no, I ain't gonna lie. I got J State. I'm gonna keep it 100. Tennis Barrett is an excellent coach, but from a recruiting standpoint, I think TC Taylor has done such an excellent job. Uh, you know, I know you're gonna have guys like Rico Powell's not gonna be back for the Celebration Bowl, but I think Jackson State has such a well balanced team in terms of like up front. Doc Holiday and I, we broke this down extensively on his channel on HBCU Overdrive. But in terms of the defensive line, like Jackson State has an 8-man rotation, so they keep fresh bodies on their D line. So they got a savage defense. Uh, Offensively, like we say, they got some road graders up front. They got Herb Mulligan. I mean, they got a power back. They got playmakers when needed. I mean, they a complete package. So I'm a. Of course, I know some people gonna be like I'm a swag homer, but I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I mean, I've seen South Carolina State this season. I think they solid. I think it's you know I think Jackson State has unfinished business because even though Dion is no longer there, these players didn't forget losing in the Celebration Bowl to South Carolina State.
Mm,
So they want their shake back, you know what I'm saying? And they won't finish the deal this time. So I'm going with J State. If I had to go with a score, I'll probably say I'm gonna go with 38 to 28.
Okay, JB, who you got? Jackson State or South Carolina State?
I think Coach made a good point. Even though my head says um, South Carolina State will win it based on what I've seen. I have seen South Carolina State. Their quarterback is a dog, um, and I think their running back is pretty good too, right, Jared?
Yeah.
Okay, but Jackson State, I think Jackson State is on a mission, especially post the prime years. So I think they're gonna come out with a win in this game.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, fellas. I'm on the fence with this one. Um, I do know Jackson State has the capability of scoring, putting up points, and their defensive line is okay. Now, Irvin Mulligan and I will say this: it depends on what quarterback they put in. If they put in Zy McDonald, they have a chance. If they start Morgan, the South Carolina State defense may feast on that. So it's all decipher what TC Taylor does. But let me tell you something about Eric Phoenix, that quarterback for South Carolina State. He is a dog. So Coach Cherry brought him over. Those who don't know, Coach Cherry used to be. He helped um, resurrect that Benedict program in Division Two HBCU in the CIAA, and they became a good team. So when he got hired on South Carolina State, most of the players that play under him at Benedict College came to South Carolina State, which is the like players like Jaden Broughton, defensive lineman, again Eric Phoenix, the quarterback that's been playing good ball this year, uh, and they just got playmakers all over the field, man. So it's hard. It's hard to pick against South Carolina State, but South Carolina State is very beatable. So I'm not gonna say, Coach, you out of your mind. And you know how much I love Irv Mulligan. Irv Mulligan, if you give him some block, if you block for him, he'll run through. He'll run through anything. Um, so that's why I'm on the fence with this one. Um, be honest with you, I will go South Carolina State.
All right,
Pains me to
hey,
say.
I like that. I like that, and I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm gonna have to put you on the spot, bro. You know, we're gonna have to carve out some time between now and next Saturday and get
I know
another
where you're going. You're right.
HBCU fanatics. I mean, and we got to get it because you know, shout out to Doc Holliday, but if I went on his channel and the following starting to grow, hey, bro, we got to get HBCU fanatics. We got to get episode 5 in. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, man. We do. We definitely do. Especially talk about this game, because this game is gonna be tough sledding for both teams. Now, I believe as far as wide receiver core, um, as far as explosion, like you said, both teams have an edge. Like Rico Powers, if he comes back, that's that's gonna be big for Jackson State, and it's killing me. South Carolina State got a wide receiver that's a dog. He's been tearing everybody up all year. I'm blanking on his name. But anyway, he's been taking the top off of defenses all year. He and that's another thing why I'm going toward South Carolina State, man. I just feel like they're a little bit more with even though South Jackson State is talented, they very balanced as roster wise. I feel like Jackson State is, excuse me, South Carolina State can you know can match it, man. I just feel that I could be wrong, and I'm willing to eat crow, but I just feel like South Carolina State gonna be ready for whatever Jackson State throws at them, offensive or defensive. Um, Salute the Road Pod, man. Hendo, what's up, brother, man? You and your sister Yolanda be cooking, man. Appreciate y'all. And y'all, man, y'all go support this brother, man. Especially if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. This brother speaks truth. But JB, cause me,
Shout out
me and
to
go ahead.
I was gonna say shout out to Coach Eddie George for winning his conference game. Tennessee State won their conference game yesterday, so shout out to Coach Eddie George.
Okay.
Now, what was you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, what was you have any last opinions on the Celebration Bowl? Who you think gonna win?
I think I think J State, and like you said, man, these games are winnable. I think J State is gonna find a way to win this.
I agree. I mean, well, I agree with you saying, but I just feel like South Carolina State can can match it, everything, man. Um, but basically, you saying Tennessee State won their conference?
Yeah, they conference game yesterday.
I think you think about somebody else because they ain't play yesterday.
No, Tennessee State, Eddie George. I wasn't. If it wasn't yesterday,
Oh,
it
they
was.
made the FCS playoffs.
But they lost to Montana.
Yeah. You right.
They lost to Montana on November 30th. 27. But like you said, still shout out to Coach Eddie George, man. They had a very good season. All right, man. Let's
I
let's
know
go
I
back.
read somewhere they won their conference game. Hold on. Go ahead, Jerry.
All right, here's one of the topics I want to talk about: is flag planting bad sportsmanship or good for rivalries, for the rivalry games? What's your opinion, Coach?
Well, y'all already know my stance on it. I feel like if you don't want somebody to plant their flag on your field, because if the other team at home, this is a non-issue. If Southern win at A.W. Mumford Stadium, Peterson Field, and they plant their flag at the 50-yard line on the SU logo, there's nothing the opposing team. I don't care if it's Jackson State. I don't care who it is. There's nothing they should say about it. All right, but if you the home team and the away team beats you, if you don't want them to plant the flag on your field, then you need to take care of business. And you already know I got a story behind this. All right. The only time Dion came to A.W. Mumford Stadium, P. Richardson Field, as the head coach of Jackson State, his son, of course, Shador, was the starting quarterback. He didn't have the kind of weapons he had once he got Travis Hunter and some of them other players that he ended up getting. But, I think Southern's defense kind of exposed him that night, that the fact that he didn't have the kind of weapons he had, when they lost to North Carolina Central the next season. But Southern got after him. I ain't gonna lie, he struggled that night, and Southern had to lead the vast majority of the game. And Glenn Bubba McDaniel was starting quarterback, and I'm not gonna lie, Bubba McDaniel played good that night. But there was a play. I can't think of what wide receiver it was. He was Southern was up by 3 points, and Southern had the ball. What about 2 minutes left in the game, and a receiver was wide open, and he dropped the pass that would have got him the first down, and he probably would have scored a touchdown. It would have ended the game, but he dropped the pass. Southern ended up punting the ball to Jackson State. Shador, I'll take that back. Southern was up by 4, I think. Yeah, Southern was up by 4. Shador led them on a drive, and they scored with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So that was the first lead Jackson State had the entire game that night, right? So now they finally get the lead, and with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Then above McDaniel, he drove him down the field, but he threw an interception on Jackson State's 20, 25, 30, 20, 25, 30 yard line. It might have been like the 25. He threw the ball and the DB caught it on like the 20, the 30, the 25, one of those three. But I think he might have caught it on like the 20. But either way, that ended the game, right? So I sent the clip to y'all last night, and Big Joe pointed out the fact that salute to our LDBC family chat. You know what I'm saying? Big Joe pointed out the fact that he didn't actually plant the flag. He just was waiting. No, Big Joe didn't see it. I was there in the building. He actually went to plant the flag on the Southern University logo at the 50-yard line, but one of the Southern defensive linemen intercepted him and picked him off. So that's why he just ran around with the flag. But he tried to plant the flag, and that was the crazy thing about it. That group of seniors that year, that was the first time they had beat Southern in 4 years. In 4 years, they had never beaten Southern. So you led like literally the entire game, but you lost the lead with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. They tried to plant the flag on the 50-yard line at the end of the game, and basically a fight ensued. The thing I didn't like about it, you know how I feel when it comes to these things. There's always a double standard. It was like LSU and Tennessee. Once the news cycle is over, you're not gonna hear about it again. But when it comes to like the HBCU schools, these things they don't die as quickly, to be truthful. And the thing that kind of made me mad more than anything was not only did you lead the game like literally like 95% of the game, and you lose the lead with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, but you had an opportunity to beat them all 4 years and avoid this situation. And I ain't gonna lie, it was literally the best game I saw at AWM Stadium the whole season. But instead of us talking about how good the game was, we talking about the post-game fight that ensued after the game. And I felt like it just kind of put a damper on the entire event. Deion, he ended up, he apologized in the post-game press conference. He was saying that, his players have to win with more class and this, that, and the third. He made a valid point at the time, but the issue I had is if you don't drop that pass, I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't just that one play that cost Southern the game. It was multiple plays, but you had the opportunity to put Jackson State away, just like yesterday when you had a chance to go up 2 scores in the first half. When you let teams hang around, these type of things come back to bite you in the behind, and you lost the game, and then you felt it was disrespectful that they was going to plant the flag at midfield of your stadium, but you could have avoided that. So my whole thing is, I ain't gonna lie, I think the flag planting thing, I think it's kind of low-key disrespectful, but I feel like as a home team, if you don't want teams to plant the flag on your field, you kick their behind and don't allow them to do it. That's my personal opinion as a coach.
Okay, all right. And before I go to JB, Autism Boy, for the past 2 shows that we went live, I told you're more than welcome to put your link in our chat, but I told you to don't pester, okay? This is going to be the 3rd time I'm telling you that. JB, what's your thoughts on flag planting?
Coach Story basically and reflecting some of the points I'm gonna make. Yeah, I understand the point as far as what I'm saying. If you don't want the flag planted, then win the game. But as the aspect of, I agree with that as far as the spirit of winning and the rival, it makes good TV. But as for, I'm speaking for somebody who's been on both sides of the competition and been playing on rival games. You're not planting your flag on my field, dog. So the fact that one of the defensive players told Shador, get your goof ass out of here. You won the game. Get out of here. I agree. I agree with that too. So I'm not against the flag planting, but I'm not against for the home team defending. Get your goofy ass out of here. Don't plant your flag on our team on our field because it's a pride thing too, especially if the game was close. If you win by a field goal or something or one score, great game, you won, you get the victory bell, or what I'm saying. I don't know if HBCU have like I know HBCU have like North Carolina and Duke got a victory bell. They get the pink bell. You get a victory bell. You don't get to plant your flag, just like with the North Carolina State. North Carolina State won, and they was trying to plant our flag, and one of our defensive players wasn't having it. But hey, I'm for the spirit of the game, the spirit of the rivalry. I don't see anything wrong with it as far as as entertainment, but as far as everybody getting on the defensive players for defending their home, and I understand they should have did fought harder during the game. But me as a former competitor, you're not gonna plant your flag on my field if I'm still on. You better wait till I get in the locker room. So that's my statement on that.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm in 100% agreement with what you said. That's why I say it is low key disrespectful. I guess you figuring it ain't low key disrespect. It's just disrespectful. Period. And I understand what you're saying. And the irony of what you said is Jackson State beat Southern by 3 points that night. So I can kind of see it both ways. I'm gonna give you an example, right? This is another topic. I'm not trying to introduce the other topic. I'm just trying to use the analogy, right? Like at my school, it's been like a hot button issue about like running the score up, right? And the female coach, she don't feel like it's about running the score up. She feel like it's about team, like over the years, I guess the district has cut the amount of games that the 7th grade girls, the 7th grade boys, the 8th grade girls, and the 8th grade boys play. They cut the amount of games they play. So she figures since they cut the amount of games, if I'm up by 30, then I don't want you to run the clock because I need that time to work on stuff that we don't get to work on since you cut our game, maybe about 10, 15 games we have left on the course of the season. So I understand her point from that aspect of it. But my point of it is I'd have been on the losing side of losing a game 87-15, a basketball game, or a football game 55-0. So my point is, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. So one day, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but one day it's gonna be your turn. So when you up like that, I feel like you should call off your dogs, you should clear the bench, and you should sit back and play zone. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. So everybody have their own perspective of it. For her, she not trying to be disrespectful and run the score up, but she's just trying to get in more work. But I'm like, bombastic scrubs ain't gonna prepare you for the elite level teams you're gonna see. So, I kind of see both sides of the argument. And when it comes to the flag playing aspect of it, I agree with you 100%. Like, if players on my team went to plant a flag on another team field, I'd be like, hey, bro, don't do that, bro. That's disrespectful, So I agree as a coach. I'm not going to let the players on my team disrespect another team. But as a coach, I feel like, hey, if we had every opportunity to win this game and we could have prevented us being in this scenario, this situation, like we can't be mad that they gonna try to disrespect us. Now, I agree with you from a player's perspective. Like, nah, you're not gonna disrespect me like that, dog. You're not gonna spit in my face. You're not gonna slap me in my face. And that's what planting the flag is. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of see both sides of it. And I think you and I are in agreement. But I feel like if you got a good enough team, I think you could put because I mean, don't get me wrong. Southern could have easily won that game. It could have went the other way. But like, don't put yourself in that situation. That's my perspective. But you're right though. It is disrespectful them planting that flag though.
And here's the thing, and you won already. But I understand the Texas and the Oklahoma rivalry, Duke and Carolina, North Carolina State. There's a lot of trash talking at the beginning of the game, probably. And then so after we beat y'all,
Southern Jackson State yet. Southern Jackson State yet.
right? Say it again, Coach.
No, I say bump that. I say Southern Jackson State is a lot of trash talking going on. That's why I'm surprised these 2 times they played this season, there wasn't no real like bad incidents in terms of, there wasn't no real bad incidents in terms of extracurricular fighting or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Because, look, man, it makes for good team. Just know if you're going to plant the flag, there's going to be a confrontation. Just know that. So you can plant your flag, just know. Just like when in the NFL, when T.O. was with the Eagles, you know what I'm saying? To the star, and then somebody knocked the fire from his ass. You know what I'm saying?
This is the thing about it. That wasn't the first time he did it. That was the second time he did it. So the first time he got it all. But poking that second time, that's where the stuff started.
But see, that's how it started. That's what I was saying in the group chat. Baker Mayfield started that, right? He planted the flag, and then he got away with it for the most part. But then other teams look at that, you know what I'm saying? Or especially up and coming players, they're like, hell no, that's not gonna happen on our field. You're not gonna plant that flag on our field. We'll tear this MF up. You know what I'm saying?
You make such a valid point. And that's why that defensive lineman for Southern, he's like, nah, F that. You ain't planting that flag on our field. Oh, no, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He wanted all the smoke. And, of course, I sent y'all the clip. But the clip don't show, like, the full you sitting in the stadium experience of what really transpired. Y'all just kind of got a glimpse of it. And, of course, it was a local news reporter that posted that clip. And, of course, he you got all these huge college athletes on the field, so he getting the F out the way. But, I just kind of gave y'all a glimpse of it. You had to be there at AW to really see like how that whole incident transpired.
Yeah, that rivalry is serious.
And one thing, I don't mean to cut y'all, bro. Just to kind of touch on JB point, like most of the classics have like something, like Magic City Classic, Circuit City Classic, Swagniac Challenge, Bayou Classic, Boombox Classic. Those classics, they mostly have like trophies and stuff or whatever. Of course, this type of thing wouldn't really be a issue in the Bayou Classic because, they play at the Superdome or neutral field, But, at the end of the Bayou Classic, you get this trophy. That's about it. But for the most part, unless it's like a huge rivalry game, like maybe Alabama State, Alabama A&M or whatever, you get a trophy or something for those type of games. But, just average, just big time swag game, big time HBCU game, nah. But those classics, they try to push them up to another level. So that's why you always get something big for those classics in terms of a bell, a trophy, or whatever,
All right. Okay. Good conversation, fellas. Good conversation. But I agree with both of your points. Flag planting is good for the rivalries. It's good TV. But on the losing team that fought hard, even though you still lost, you like JB said, you ain't about to plant your flag on my field. So I definitely agree. All right. All right, man. We're gonna talk about a little bit of NFL. Week 14, man, time flying by. Let's go. So some games already done happened. Like the Steelers beat the Browns, so they Steelers got their revenge. They beat the Browns 27-14. Thursday, Packers fall to in a very good game, close game to the Lions, 34-31. The Saints beat off the Giants with a stick, winning 14-11.
Hold up, bro. Hold up. I hate to cut you off. They didn't lose. They didn't win. They survived.
Exactly. That's why I said y'all beat them off with a stick. They survived. Yeah, let me say it like how my brother said it. They survived against the Giants, 14-11. Dolphins beat the Jets, man. The Jets got Aaron Rodgers out of retirement for nothing, man. Dolphins beat Jets 32-26 in overtime. Jaguars hold on to beat the Titans 10-6. Vikings beat the Falcons 42-21. It was close in the first half, but the Vikings pulled away in the second. This is the game that Lunch Break Hot Take and Jose and Brodney, all them brothers over there was talking about. Please support them. They channel. They had a live a few minutes ago. I believe they're still going. But the Panthers lose a heartbreaker to the Eagles. They're about to upset the Eagles, 22-16. So Bryce Young's been balling, man. He's been making better decisions. Still throwing interceptions, but you can see he's trying to make a play. He's being more smart with the ball. Buccaneers beat Raiders 28-13. Seahawks and Cardinals are still going on there in the third quarter. Seahawks are up 24-10. Bears are being blown out. Mr. Shelton. I know he's happy. The Bears are being blown out by the 49ers 24-0. They're in halftime. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, he's, as those who don't know, he's out for the season. But they second string running back is a dog, man. I don't think he's playing today, though. Isaac Guarendo is playing, and he scored a touchdown. $24-0. Yeah, $24-0. So let me back up. And the Bills are in halftime with the Rams. Bust this out, y'all. Rams are beating the Bills 24-14 in halftime. What y'all think about that?
I'm not surprised by it. I was impressed with the Rams, the way they came back and beat my Saints last week. I think the Rams I think they're a playoff team in the NFC, to be truthful. I mean, they finally starting to get healthy. You got Puka, you got Robinson. They got some weapons, so I'm not shocked by that.
Okay. JB, what you think about the Rams for right now? Because it's still at halftime. They're beating the Bills 24-14.
Rams is one of them top NFC teams.
You breaking up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, but you got static on your end. Coach, you hear static on his end?
Yeah, I hear a lot of static. He might want to go out and come back in.
I,
But yeah, bro, what you were saying before JB start breaking up?
No, I was going to say that basically, yeah, this is of course the game is not over yet for the Bills and the Rams, but the Rams are playing good ball for right now because the game is not over.
Yeah, I mean, without question, you know what I'm saying?
And Puka Nakua is the truth, man.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that boy a problem. You know, I was telling one of the coworkers about him, and it was like, who? You know, female coworker. You know, she a coach, but you know, she don't watch football, and she was like, who? I like Puka Nakua.
Wait a minute, hold. You ain't gonna run that. You ain't gonna just say that. You said she's a coach and don't know Puka Nakua.
She a female coach though, bro.
So
Man, these female coaches don't be watching NFL like that. I mean, you know, if you coach basketball, you know, so I've known female coaches to not watch the NBA, the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
okay, dang.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know some that are just as knowledgeable about sports
I do too. That's why I said so.
across
Yeah,
the board. But you
yeah.
know, like I think you find it more with female coaches. You know, most men, they pretty much got all the sports on lock. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I've even known a couple guys that really, they might teach physical education and maybe coach something, but they really not a sports guy. They just kind of a warm body from a coaching perspective. So I think it depends on the
can y'all
scenario.
hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you
get
now.
you, bro.
I was saying that the Rams is one of those tough NFC teams. Um, they'll sneak up on you. You know, they got all the weapons. Their defense is solid for the most part. Nothing too crazy, but they got a solid offense. And then um, who's their quarterback? Stafford, right? Matthew Stafford.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
he's pretty solid. Um, the Bills is, but like you said, it's just the the first half. So um, the so-called MVP Josh Allen, we'll see if he can get his team out the hole.
Yeah, and I was saying that the next game that's up is Charge tonight. It's Chargers versus Cheese. Who y'all starting with you, JB? Who you got in that game?
I'm going with the Chargers. I think that the Chargers just run the ball, and then Herbert make good choices with the ball, and use his legs. They should win. Chiefs haven't been playing good football these last couple of games, but then again, that is Patrick Mahomes is that dude. So even though he hasn't been playing good football, this is the time of year where he start, you know, showing why he's won couple of Super Bowls and MVP. So it should be a good game tonight.
Yeah, sure. And then of course tomorrow is the Bengals versus Cowboys. So that's gonna that of course we're gonna pick the
Terrible.
Bengals. This is not a good game, but the Bengals should win that. How the Cowboys been playing lately, but who knows? Because that Bengals defense is not that great. But man,
Bengals defense is horrible.
yeah, they are. But the general is about to come on, so I want to hop off and tune into
yeah.
that
The the,
brother, man.
the no 304 show.
Yeah, and then later on probably go back and watch Lunch Break Hot Take with them brother. Want to hear Brodney's take on his Panthers almost beating the beating the Eagles. But yeah, man. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Thank everyone for coming in and just being nosy, man. Y'all, those who just coming in and may catch um you know the recording afterwards, man. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Not asking for no money, not asking for no super chats. That's the least you can do. Um, but yeah, man. Coach, let everybody know where they can meet you.
You could catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms. However, I'm primarily here on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please go subscribe. Right now, as we speak, I am 13 subscribers short of 500 subscribers. So y'all come over, subscribe to the channel, just so we get baby monetized, and then we're gonna push the channel towards 1,000 subscribers.
Yes,
But
please support this brother.
we trying to get to 500 before Christmas. So y'all come check me out. Of course, I primarily talk about Southern University, but I talk about a variety of different sports topics. Myself, my brother, Jerry Lovin Green, the General, every Saturday. Well, every few Saturdays we do this wire analysis show. So if you love the wire the way we do, come check us out. You know, we gonna have another episode of HBCU Fanatics soon. I'm gonna have another episode of Value Sports Talk whenever we could get Rude Dog. You know, he been working a lot, so whenever we could get him squared away, we're gonna have another episode of Value Sports Talk. So you know, we got a lot of sports content. I'm probably gonna give y'all a post fight reaction to, you know, Richardson Hitchens, winning the title last night for my LDBC family members. I'm gonna give some more post game reaction to the SWAC championship game. So come over to the channel, check me out. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal work week. Catch y'all on the rebound. Peace and blessings.
Yeah, and autism boy, if he do, he do. He don't, he don't. Okay, don't pester. All right, brother, and that's with love. Again, I told you that more than one time. Uh, JB, any final words before we get out of here?
Hey man, y'all be blessed, man. Have a good work rest of the Sunday and have a great work week. Y'all be blessed.
You as well. All right. This is another installment of the Southern Baller Show. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and all my Baltimore Ravens, Fado Flock Nation. Y'all have a blessed Sunday, the rest of your Sunday. Peace.